these two men have already entered. They're waiting for us. Only one of them will leave.
So we had Shrout on last round, Caleb the previous round. Both players are 8-1, round 10 of 10 here in the Swiss in Columbus. Durward playing Jund. Again, he is the type of player who does not play a traditional deck. But if you see Caleb Durward playing a traditional deck, that means the deck is probably pretty gosh darn good.
It's been good.
Yeah. And 8-1 after a top 16 last weekend in St. Louis means that it's pretty gosh darn good. So, Caleb's deck list for reference: 4 Thragtusk, 4 Hunt Master Fells, 3 Olivia Voldarens. Then he's got all of his smattering of one-ups to go along with those 4 Farseeks. He's got Rakdos Keyrune, he's got Dreadbore, he's got Tragic Slip as a 2-of, Mizium Mortars as a 2-of, 3 Bonfire the Dam, 2 Abrupt Decay, 2 Putrefy, 1 Sever the Bloodline, 1 Rakdos Return, 1 Ground Seal. So this is a pretty typical Jund list. It's not really straying from anything too crazy. You know, you're not going to find Thunderball Hellkites or Vampire Nighthawks here, but he's got a lot of removal, efficient creatures, and Farseek. On Andrew's side.
Oh, he's got a creature base that starts with 3 Avacyn's Pilgrim, 2 Arbor Elves for acceleration, 4 Voice of Resurgence, and 3 Lockstone Smiters as kind of the meat. And he has 3 Restoration Angel, 4 Thragtusk, getting towards the top end, and 2 Prime Speaker Zagana, the card the deck is named after, and singletons of Aetherling and Angel of Serenity. Now for his spells, he's got 4 Farseeks to accelerate as well, 3 Garruk Relentless, 2 Jace Architect of Thought, 2 Sphinx's Revelation, and 2 Selesnya Charms. I think that's going to be a big key in this game 1. Selesnya Charm is really his only way of interacting with Olivia Voldarren, who is a big, big threat if it sticks and grows.
Yes. I'm definitely inclined to agree with you there. You know, you can pick it off with Garruk Relentless if things go right. You know, Durward plays one on his 3rd or 4th turn, doesn't have the pump for it, and then Garruk Relentless is able to fight it and kill itself to kill Olivia, which is a trade you're willing to make every single time.
Yeah.
So, we'll see if Olivia is going to show up or not. Here's a Bonfire the Damned off the top for Durward. It's going to be for 2. It's going to take care of Voice of Resurgence, which means that Shrout is going to get an Elemental token, which is just going to be a boring old 1/1.
So in the early part of the game, we saw Andrew Shrout lead with a turn 1 Avacyn's Pilgrim, which Caleb immediately killed with Tragic Slip, and then Caleb has followed up with a Farseek, and now bonfired away that Voice of Resurgence. Andrew has the Garruk Relentless and makes a wolf, so this is good for him. He's got some defense right now against an Olivia. Well, not anymore.
Yep.
There's the Dreadbore.
But the big thing here right now is that Durward had to Farseek for his 3rd land. He has not found a 4th one yet. So Shrout is actually able to build a board presence here. He has a 5th land. He can activate Gavany Township if he wants to. That's what he's going to do. And he's going to push through 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points of damage.
And this could end very quickly. Caleb Durward, he finds the 4th land. Is it enough? He's got the Olivia Voldarren, but he's going to have to... Well, he's going to have to block with it.
He's actually going to have to block
that
with
Gavany Township is threatening lethal with these creatures.
And Shrout knows it, and he just sends right in.
Caleb can't do anything but chump block with Olivia Voldarren.
And you see, this is the world of difference. Had Durward hit his 4th land on time, if he hits his 4th land on time, he has Olivia. He can get that established, potentially win the game. He misses his land drop for multiple turns and ends up losing the game because of it. You see him slamming his fist on the table, a little bit frustrated with how that game went.
Wow, that was so quick. It ended so quickly.
And Shroud's deck doesn't even really kill that quickly. The times that we've had on camera, he's grinding his opponent down, you know, drawing a bunch of cards with Prime Speaker and Sphinx's Revelation, and just that quickly, Voice of Resurgence plus Garruk making a wolf, Gavany Township, that adds up damage very, very quickly, and it put Durward in a situation where he actually had to chump block with Olivia Voldarren and be able to shoot and take things over.
Gavany Township, absolutely key there for that victory.
Yes. So, we're going to take a look at the sideboards here. Durward is going to be up first. He is going to be on the play this game. He's sideboarding pretty quickly, so we'll go over it pretty fast for you guys as well, so we don't miss anything. 1 Rakdos' Return, 1 Garruk Primal Hunter, 4 Pillar of Flame, 2 Slaughter Games, 2 Appetite for Brains, 2 Duress, 2 Ground Seals, and 1 Barter in Blood. So, take a look at the options that he has here. Pillar of Flame is certainly pretty appetizing.
Yeah, take care of that Voice of Resurgence.
He's also got those mana accelerants to shoot down as well. You take a look at Appetite for Brains or Duress. Is that where you want to go against a deck that does have a couple of spells? Appetite for Brains can take down a Restoration Angel, a Thragtusk, Prime Speaker, those singletons, and Aetherling or Angel of Serenity, those Planeswalkers and Garruk Relentless or Jace Architect of Thought. pretty interesting sideboard card to bring in, potentially for Durward. And then, you know, he's got a Barter in Blood, which I don't hate. He's got, you know, he's got, a Rakdos Return in case the game goes late. He's got Garruk Primal Hunter if he wants to go the Planeswalker route. I think he's got a lot of options available to him right now.
Andrew's got a lot of options too. We talked about how in game one, if it didn't end so lightning quick, Olivia Voldaren could be a huge problem for the Bant deck, traditionally light on removal. Well, Andrew can bring in all the removal he wants for Olivia. So he's got a third copy of Selesnya Charm. He's got a Silklash Spider, 2 clones, which will still Legend Rule. He's got 2 Supreme Verdicts and 2 Detention Spheres. So all of those potentially answers to Olivia Voldaren. Could also board in 3 Unflinching Courage, 2 Garruk Primal Hunter, and 2 Syncopates. I don't know if we'll see any or all of those.
Yeah, I think, you know, what does he want to move in and move out? That's the difficult part, right? Because he's got a lot of options for cards to move in so that he can make sure that he's good against Olivia Voldaren, but he's also got to move out. He's got to move cards out. You can't sideboard up yet, and you wouldn't want to in the first place.
Yeah.
So
another rules change. Which could be very interesting.
So what is he going to take out to probably fit in a clone type effect, to maybe fit in Detention Sphere? Because as you said, the main thing for Prime Speaker Ben is that it does have a lot of difficulty with Olivia Voldaren, but Shrout does have answers to them in the form of Clone, Supreme Verdict, and Detention Sphere, as you mentioned. Also Silklash Spider, kind of a backwards way of hurricaning it out of the way if things can come to that.
Yeah.
So
probably
we'll
not going to bring that in though.
Yeah.
I think Silklash is more useful against a token army of 1/1 spirits.
Pretty good against Thundermaw Hellkite too, which of course Durward does not have. We've seen other Jund decks on camera have 2 copies of those. People moving towards that and away from Vampire and Nighthawk. Again, Durward just with 4 Thraktos, 4 Huntmaster, and 3 Olivia. So no Thundermaws to be concerned about if you're Andrew Shrout.
I actually don't like the Jace Architect of Thought. That's the first card that stuck out for me in Andrew's deck. That doesn't really do enough in this matchup. I mean, it's a Planeswalker. It has inherent value in its abilities, but Caleb can spit out these creatures real fast. He can spit out an army with Huntmaster of the Fells that can threaten Jace. And he's also got spot removal in the form where we saw the Dreadbore. Bonfire the Damned is certainly very efficient against Planeswalkers. So I think if you are worried about Olivia and you want to bring in some answers, Jace is the one that's going to go.
Okay. Well, we'll see if Shrout agrees with what we think here in the booth. If you guys are just joining us, Cedric Phillips, Ricky Hayashi, Star City Games Open Series here in Columbus, Ohio. We are at the 4-day Origins Game Fair. If you guys do want to join us on Twitter, maybe tell us how you would sideboard if you're Andrew Shrout or Caleb Durward. Feel free at SCG Live, hashtag SCGCOL for your tweets. You can also hashtag on Facebook nowadays as well. Pretty nifty.
Does that work?
I think it does work. They have hashtags now. So
I thought people just did that because they had it linked up and it didn't do anything on Facebook.
You could actually use them now. So join in on the conversation with us as we do see Durward and Shrout, the 2 top players probably left right now that you guys are familiar with at home, duking it out. Again, Shrout coming off his Pro Tour top 8 at Pro Tours Dragons Maze in San Diego. Durward, multiple Pro Tours, multiple Grand Prix top 8. So we're going to see if Durward, with his back against the wall, can come back here against Shrout as he's taking a mulligan to 6.
So table number 3, we've been told. What is the matchup on table number 3? It is Timmy Paddock versus Steven Duran. Both those players at 24 points are playing it out. This is a table we thought might try to draw in, but they're going for it. It's Bant Hexproof with a Johnny.
So this is 3 mana Ajani. This is double strike. This is +1/+1 counter Ajani. This is a card, Ajani Call of the Pride.
I like that.
I kind of like that too, actually. We see Silverblade Paladin in that deck a lot. We saw it earlier on camera.
Yeah.
I think that Ajani is probably a little bit more impressive.
Putting a +1/+1 counter on the Invisible Stalker seems a lot better than double striking it up.
Yeah, plus, you know, it's pretty easy to blow out Silverblade Paladin in combat. And really just ruin things there. I actually kind of like the innovation of Johnny Call of the Pride. A card, when it was released, you're looking at a cheap Planeswalker in white that is like all upside, and it hasn't seen any play yet.
3 mana Planeswalker, not seeing much play, is very surprising. Yeah. So that Bant Hexproof deck with a Johnny is paired up against the green-white aggro deck at table 3. And they are going to play it out. They're going to duke it out. So we'll see what happens over there, and we're going to see what happens right here as these 2 8-1s clash to try to make it into top 8.
You saw Shrout's face. He did not, I think he was looking for every way to try to keep that hand and realizing that he can't do it and kind of laughing about it now. Whenever you're kind of twinging your face looking at your cards, unless you're looking at a split card, I think you're trying to convince yourself to keep a pretty bad hand. So Shrout does just take a mulligan here, so he's going to go down. Looks like the 6 as well.
All right. So Jund, Prime Speaker, Bant. Who do you think is favored here in the sideboard games?
I think it's pretty close, as the Shrout is actually taking a mulligan to 5 right now, but I actually think it's pretty close. Again, I think this matchup revolves around Olivia. That's like the first game in many games here. You know, if Olivia resolves and Shrout doesn't have an answer, he can't win. Yeah. So that's step 1. Now, if we're talking about what happens when Olivia is resolved or Shrout has an answer to it in Clone, in Detention Sphere, in Celestial Charm, in whatever, then we're playing a different game, because I think, from what we've seen, Shrout is more than happy going long because he has ways to draw cards in Prime Speaker Zagana and blinking it. You know, he's got Restoration Angel plus Thragtusk. He has Sphinx's Revelation, so he has Aetherling and Angels ready. So he's content going long. But Jund naturally wants to go long with its Bonfire of the Dams, with its Rakdos' Returns, with its Thragtusk. So someone has to play the aggressor here, or at least break serve, and we'll see who it's going to be, because I don't really know who it favors, honestly, when we go long.
And again, Caleb, respecting the Mana Elves, uses a Pillar of Flame on that Avacyn's Pilgrim.
Yeah, and we knew he was going to bring those in, right? He's got 4 of them in his sideboard. Shrout has 4 Voice of Resurgences. The fact that it cleans up Avacyn's Pilgrim and Armor Elf is just icing on the cake.
Yeah, but Andrew Shrout accelerates through that anyway with a Farseek.
Durward with the Buddy land draw. Doesn't have a Ravnical Duel or a basic Swamp or Forest. Let those lands come into play untapped. So both of these guys, due to their mulligans, kind of fumbling along a little bit.
Yeah, and the fact that he played a Woodland Cemetery on turn 3 means he probably has another Buddy land on turn 4. Yeah. He's not going to be able to drop a 4-drop on the proper turn.
So Shrout, even though he's on a mulligan to 5 and was on the draw, has a Garruk Relentless. It's going to pump out a Wolf token. So can Caleb deal with this Planeswalker? Because it looks like he's going to have to Farseek for a land. Something that we saw in the last game from him, too.
Yeah, this is... I mean, I thought Caleb had an advantage here, but with the mulligan to 5 for Andrew Shrout, all of a sudden that Garruk, you've got to do something about these Planeswalkers.
So Caleb is just going to play his Woodland Cemetery after searching up a Blood Crypt. Untapped, you see his hand. He's got a Rakdos' Return, a Thragtusk, and Olivia Voldaren. Garruk going to pump out a Wolf token, going to attack with one of them. And I'm very interested to see what the rest of the cards are in Shrout's hand right now. If he has a follow-up, if he has like a land plus a Thragtusk or anything, that's what I want to know.
Says go.
And he's got, I see his hand, he's got a Thragtusk, a Clone, and a Syncopate is his hand right now.
And this is...
Yeah, there's no way that's resolving.
Syncopate. So Caleb trying to go for the Rakdos' Return to kill Garruk and take cards from Shrout.
Oh my goodness.
But the Syncopate now followed up by a Thragtusk.
So Shrout top decks a Sun Petal Grove, puts it immediately into play, plays a Thragtusk, puts another Wolf into play, and what would have been a backbreaking Rakdos' Return ends up getting Syncopated, a card that Shrout has 2 of in his sideboard.
Caleb's not out of it yet. He's got to sever the bloodline, so he can reduce the clock here by taking those wolves away. But now he's going to go for the Thragtusk first.
This is pretty tough, right? Because he's got Olivia Voldaren in his hand, so you know, ideally he wants to be able to go like Olivia plus shoot a guy when Garruk tries to fight it. But Shrout has Clone in his hand just at the ready for Olivia, so you wonder if A, Durward knows that Shrout has Clone in his deck list somewhere, or B, if Durward just has a feeling that Shrout has an answer to Olivia in his hand. You know, that's the really scary thing right now if you're Durward, because if you ever pull the trigger on Olivia and he's wrong, he just gets run over by these guys.
Yeah, so he's got that sever in his back pocket, so I think his plan has to be here to trade off the Thragtusk, or at least threaten to. And Shroud's not going to go for that trade.
Wow,
he's just
Shroud.
attacking with the wolves.
He will not allow it, and Durward's just going to take it?
Well, he doesn't want to lose his Thragtusk.
Okay, he blocks one. Okay,
one.
yeah, I was going to say, he's just going to take that damage? I can't imagine that's the case. So now Shrout is basically representing Restoration Angel now, right? If he's not attacking with his Thragtusk?
Yeah, that's a possibility, but why not just attack with it anyway? See what happens.
Yeah, if it gets blocked, then you can blink it. So what is he up to over there? That's the question.
Shrout, he's got the board advantage, he's got the life advantage. He's falling behind in his mana production.
Mm-hmm.
He played that Thragtusk on 5 and has not played a 6 land, so he's got to think like he needs to do something here. And Caleb comes out with Olivia Voldaren, passes the turn back.
Yeah,
and
so it is
there's
Restoration Angel.
There's the Resto Angel.
Okay. So I think what Shrout wants to do there, I think his thought process is it's way more important for me to bluff something, like bluff another Syncopate, bluff maybe a Snapcaster Mage on the Syncopate, what have you. Make Caleb think instead of just putting my shields down and making it so that he has free reign on his turn. And now he's going to cast a clone, which absolutely ruins Durward, because there goes Olivia now. We might see a shot here from Durward to turn something into a vampire, but this is like a huge turn.
Yeah, might as well. I'm not sure what he shot. We have an angel vampire or a beast vampire here.
Ricky, what it's looking like to me now is it might be
curtains.
It might be bonfire or bust, my friend, as it is an angel vampire. So if there's any card that can save Caleb Durward, as you see him trade off Thragtusk, it's Bonfire of the Damned.
And he sets that up by trading the Thragtusk so that the beast is the only thing that's left. Is this it? How is he going to do this? Is he just going to look at it? Is he going to flip the top card?
So
he's laughing. He knows what he needs.
One-time dealer?
Flip it. Oh, don't look.
Oh, it's Olivia. No, he looked.
That's why you don't look.
And he's going to extend the hand. Oh. So Andrew Shrout is going to win the match, and he is moving on to another Open Series top 8. Congratulations to him and his Prime Speaker Bant deck. Caleb Durward, another heck of a weekend, but he comes up short one more time. Again, Ricky, top 16 last weekend in St. Louis with Jund. Just misses out on it this weekend again with Jund. He's found a deck that he likes, but Andrew Shrout has been playing Prime Speaker Bant for a very long time. You see it with the way he plays it with the deck. See the way he kind of matriculates his way through the games, and he is 9-1 and in the top 8.
Certainly is, but my question to you is Caleb completely out of the picture? Because we were told that Table 3 was playing it out, they were not IDing, and if they do play it out and one of them moves up and one of them stays the same, maybe Caleb's tiebreakers are good enough that 8 and 2 is going to get him into the top.
Now that is a very interesting question. Caleb Durward coming into this round was in 10th place with, look at his tiebreakers, his tiebreakers are at 61%, so you know, I am no math scientist, as my friends like to say, but I would be very surprised if he's able to make the top 8 at X and 2 being in 10th place this round. But as you said, Table 3, places 5 and 6 are playing, so you know, you've got John Wallace in